Hi, Nace. Good to see ya.
Amanda, how we doing?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome back.
Thank
What
you.
does it feel like?
Uh, first experience of dealing with the free agency since leaving New Jersey. So going back to New Jersey seems kind of, full circle, but that's great. It's fun. I'm very excited for what's going on there. So I've been seeing what you guys have been building over the past couple of years. Obviously being in Jersey in Carolina. So it's pretty exciting to join a team of this caliber and hoping that I can add to it.
How have you changed? And maybe, you've been through a journey since you've left, not only personally with your two kids, but just how have you changed and how have you seen your role on teams develop from the last time you were here?
Yeah, you know, two kids has been a lot. Yeah, that in itself has been a journey. But you know, getting married, having the two kids, going from the experience of not being qualified, obviously, to being in the minors, to finding my footing, winning the Calder Cup, getting a chance back in the NHL, and honestly, just showing the game that I've actually had the whole entire time. But just I'd say a coach that believed in me, but giving me a chance to show it is a
Mhm.
big thing. And I'm a big believer in this league that if a coach is willing to give you the chance, that you can flourish with it. And, I was able to build my game back in starting in Pittsburgh, San Jose, back to Chicago, Carolina, and obviously back full circle here. It's pretty great, and Fitzy and I have always seen each other around the room, and you know you know he's a great human being. We can't say anything bad about him. Still Frosty, all the boys that are still around, and even these young pups that were just young little infants whenever I was here. Nico being the captain now is amazing, and seeing Jesper come into his own is pretty cool. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see these guys again.
That was going to be my next question. There's those two guys that you were here with, they were fresh into the league. What has impressed you about the way they've developed? And did you expect that when you saw them? Did you know that that was part of their DNA?
Well, I know back then Jesper obviously was I keep saying Jesper. I'm just going to call him Bratter for sake. So Bratter was such a dynamic skater and so good, and he impressed so many people that first year that like we were all like, who is this guy? Kind of came out of nowhere, and it was amazing to see his development from then until now. And we always knew Nico was going to be a great player. With him being the first overall pick to taking such a big role early on. Halsey kind of guiding him, and Halsey having this amazing year just kind of at the hands of him, and taking this whole new leadership role. He's not the most vocal guy in the world, but he's very passionate. He cares so much. It's a he's an amazing human being. Even when we play against each other, there's so much respect there. And even the playoff series we had, obviously, I take faceoffs against them every now and then, and we'd always kind of joke about it during the faceoff. And I, would make a side remark when I finally beat him because I'm not a centerman by any means, but I beat him. It's always an extra bonus to beat a number one center like him. So it's pretty fun.
Well, good to have you back, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Next question go to Ryan Obuzinski and J.com.
Hey, Stefan. I'm curious. Uh, Brett had mentioned that you had a FaceTime call earlier today. Can you just kind of set the scene with that, and how excited are you to team back up with him in New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, Pesce is a thoroughbred, full of a New Yorker slash Jersey guy, through and through. I know sometimes you don't see eye to eye on those two things, but he's I know for a fact he had some offers. I'm guessing other places, and the fact that he settled back into his home territory is a big thing for him. And when Jersey came calling, it was definitely on high on the list of my top choices. And not only because of, again, I've seen what they built, but the people that I know that were coming here, especially with Dylan as well, is a great human being, great soul, cares more about everyone else on the team, sometimes more than himself, which is what you want in a veteran like that. And when I was getting the final word that we were going to be here and we decided to come here, I called Pesh right away, and he was very happy, very ecstatic, very he's just such a good dude, and we've been with each other for the past 3 to 4 years, or 3 years in itself, and so I'm very happy to be back with him. He's a great guy, and he's one of the ones that we were missing in the playoffs this past year in Carolina. So he's a very valuable asset.
What can you take away from your obviously regular season, but also postseason battles against the Devils in the past couple of years, knowing that most of that core, the young core, is still intact. As kind of a learning lesson and almost a motivator of how excited you are to join that roster.
That's a loaded question there, because considering you played against them. But no, they have so much skill, so much, offensive drive. They beat the Rangers for a reason. Even just the way they were able to play, and again, the dynamics of it. Our team in Jersey that year was extreme, or in Carolina, I'm sorry, was really good, and we were deep, and we were able to kind of nullify them. But we were big and strong and physical, and that's something that obviously they wanted to kind of tackle down this year, kind of going around, was a little bit more, physical presence and a little oomph. And, with myself, with Dylan, I know Big Mac is there too. And, having guys that aren't afraid to, kind of get in the mix and grind out. I feel like that'd be just a great asset for them. And, I hate to say I'm right where I'm supposed to be, but I kind of am right where I'm supposed to be in this scenario.
Did your familiarity with the organization and with Fitzgerald, as you said, did that kind of help push things along and make it less of a complicated process in this free agency?
Yeah, I'm again, having from where I was, when I left New Jersey a couple of years ago to where I am now, it's been, a hell of a process. A lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of, grinding. And, to be able to have a couple teams to be able to choose from, in a sense, is a cool process to go through. Obviously, when hockey is done, I don't know what I would want to do with my life, and that, being in this kind of realm is all I've known. And I really wanted to go through the process, enjoy the process, kind of see what teams value you and see you as, again, coming from where I could barely get a PTO to, getting a couple teams that are wanting you. It's an amazing process. I'm very humbled by it. And, Jersey was, top 2, 3 teams on my list that I really wanted to go to, hoping that they would, you know, at least make an offer. And, it made it pretty easy whenever I got a phone call from Sheldon, who I know very well. And Fitzy called me as well. And we kind of went through the whole entire process. And again, seeing the Devils pickups in general, it was kind of a no-brainer in a sense. And yeah, we're excited to be back. It's gonna be a little bit different lifestyle than what we lived last time we were here, though. We were in, Jersey City and living the high life, where now we got 2 kids. We can't really do that anymore.
Well, I was going to ask, last one is what did you miss the most about New Jersey?
I mean, living again, we were single. We are single. We were just her and I. We had 2 dogs, which are sitting right here, actually, by the pool. But we had 2 dogs and nothing else, no responsibilities. We can kind of leave the pups alone and do our thing in New York City, where that's probably the best thing about it, is living in New York City without living in New York City. Now this is a whole different ball game. Now we're in we need nanny mode. And hopefully we can find ourselves a pretty good nanny somewhere to be able to allow my wife and I some free time.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Thanks, Ryan. Next question will go to Bill Spalding, MSG Networks.
Hey, Stefan. Thanks for the time. You mentioned obviously some of the guys you played with, and you mentioned Fitzy. I know there's been a ton of staff turnover in the Lakes, but is there anyone in particular, like staff-wise or anything, that you're looking forward most to kind of seeing again when you get back here?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, there's been pretty much everyone's been turned over except for Fitzy. He took over, and just the equipment staff. Frosty's literally one of the best in the business. Everyone says that, and it's for a reason. Obviously, Nate the Great's a very funny individual who, you're obviously great and enthusiastic to see, because even when you're on the other team, he doesn't stop chirping all the time. So that's always fun. But yeah, I know there's a few guys here and there, Andrew Schmidt. So all these guys that, I've known and I see being on the opposite side of the whole entire thing. So other than that, I don't know too many people. I'll get to see everyone now and then on other benches. But for the most part, everyone that's kind of been there has been the equipment guys, and there's a reason why they're still there, and everyone else has been turned over.
And then I'm curious on, like when people talk about culture or locker room culture, obviously when you come in as a free agent, sometimes it's a tough spot because there's an established group there. But particularly this offseason with so many veterans coming in as free agents, how do you see your role with the younger guys that are already there in terms of how you can influence the culture?
Well, obviously, first and foremost, I'm kind of, I've kind of been around it in this case scenario. So for myself in general, I can speak to that regard. Is I've been around it. I was with these guys when they were just newborns coming into the league, even though I kind of was in that same realm. But they were just so much younger than I was that, again, seeing them come into who they are and their form is a fantastic thing. So the respect factor is there. And I think you see a lot of times when they bring in vets, it's a lot of it is, you respect who they bring in and what they've done in their careers and all that stuff. I'll use Paul Stasny as an example. Stas is he's a very great human being, but he was very quiet. He was kind of a little bit more reserved because he wanted to see what the locker room was like. Because he's coming from a whole different experience where he was, and it took him a little bit to kind of get going and us to really appreciate the type of thing that he did and brought to the team. Where I'll use myself, is I've kind of been around these guys. They kind of know who I am. I've been in the organization. I'd say I might carry a little bit more weight than a normal vet coming in. And then with that being said, you use a guy like Brett Pesce, who's, he's got 600 plus games in the NHL. A guy like Dylan, who's got, I think he's over 700 now, might be closing in on 8. But I know both of them as well, and they're just the best human beings in the world. Dylan comes from a great family. He's got his little girl, and Emma's amazing human being. Same with Brett and Amy as well. They're good humans coming into a great organization and a great locker room where the vets can kind of see that. And when you see Dylan drop his gloves for the first time for someone just getting bumped and being like, you can't do that to them, that's where the whole entire locker room, perks up a little bit more and respects this guy to a whole nother level. So you're seeing these guys come in, and I think they've done a great job bringing in some good vets overall, and hopefully to build off this.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Bill. Next question, go to James Nichols, New Jersey Hockey Now.
Hey, Stefan, welcome back to New Jersey. First question for me, I'm sure you know the Devils play a very high speed, high skill game, having played against them the past 2 years. But I don't know if you noticed the trend this summer. Fitzgerald's pretty much brought in anyone who's 6'1", 200 or more pounds. What was your reaction for bringing in such large bodies, including yourself, and the message that you received by doing so moving forward?
I think just that they don't want to be pushed around as much. Not saying that they have been in the past, but it's been obviously we all know the whole situation that happened with the Rangers and the Devils and all that stuff. And as much fun as it is to see on the outside and just kind of watching that whole entire process go down, it's a very good thing when you bring in, again, veterans. You bring in bigger bodies. You kind of let them do their high flying offense. Let them go, let them do their thing. Know that you've got some guys in the back end that are willing to help out. And if you need, my game is obviously not the fastest, as from me being here previously. But what I make up for that, I make up in hockey sense, and I make up in my physical play down low and, getting pucks back for all these guys. So, I'm never going to be able to skate with Jesper Bratt. Let's just be honest. We all know that from the get go. That guy's an amazing skater. Same with Hughes as well. So it's just one of those things that they brought in some size, they brought in some help overall, just to kind of help out and be some bigger bodies around.
And just, I know it's been crazy first day of free agency, just figuring some things out, but what does, off-season training look like and who will you be training with and what will you be working on in your game?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in a weird spot here with my off-season training just because I'm actually in Dallas right now. It's 110 degrees. If you can't tell, I'm absolutely drenched in sweat. And it's a bit of a process with all this that's been going on. But I was in Raleigh for a little bit, came back to Dallas to help, kind of get some stuff out of our place here. And then so I'll be bouncing around a little bit. I was obviously here for the past 3 weeks. Got another week here. Head over to Raleigh for about 2 to 3 weeks. Headed back up to Michigan for about a week, and then during all that time, we're still trying to find a house in New Jersey. And yeah, it's a big process and a lot of fun, and we're obviously very excited to be there and go through this whole entire thing. But when it comes to terms of that, is just for me, it's always conditioning, just making sure that we're always in the best shape possible. My body is kind of my body. I've always kind of just been, who I am. I've never been the skinniest human being in the world. I've never been the fattest human being in the world. I always come in great shape and I work my balls off. So those are just, as you guys know with me, it's just kind of, that is who I am. And, just work on those net front and winning as many battles as possible.
Last one for me. I noticed, 14 of your goals last year 11 came on the power play. Anything special you're doing there or just coincidence?
I didn't even know that stat, so thanks for telling me that. I think it's just pure coincidence. I mean, I'd never been able to be used on the power play as much. When I was here in Jersey, they didn't use me there. They used me more on the 5-on-5 in a third line situation. And for the most part, I played majority on the fourth line, some third line here and there. But I'm just excited to get there and see where they see me fit. Sheldon and I have obviously had a pretty good conversation already, Fitzy as well, and we'll see where they want to use me. And I'm obviously here to kind of be that more veteran role and play up and down the lineup wherever I can. If we get injuries, I can just jump in kind of anywhere they need me. So hopefully I get used in the power play and be able to show the best of my ability and be that net front presence that I think I can help with.
Thanks, Stefan.
Yep.
Thanks, James. Next question go to Trey Matthews, Pucks and Pitchfork.
Thank you, Stefan. Welcome back to New Jersey once again. As previously stated, one of the point of emphasis was to add more physicality in terms of forwards. You talked about your game, the physical aspect, but collectively, how much more potential does this unit have now that you and a few other key assets are now on the roster officially?
I don't know. We're just adding a different dynamic to these guys. They're high flying offense and they get up and down the ice extremely quick. So, a guy like Pesce and Dilly who are, very defensive focused and just will help shut down other teams' offensive guys and get pucks in those guys' hands. It's kind of where the same vibe with me is. When I was in Jersey, I mainly played a defensive shutdown role. And as I developed into more of a power play offensive role as well while being able to do that. So, yeah, it's again, I think you guys can speculate as much as you want. Yeah, I think the final product is going to be when we get through training camp and we get into this next little bit here and you see what kind of team we put forward and what Sheldon does.
Awesome. That's it for me. Welcome back once again.
Thanks, Trey. The next question, follow up from Amanda.
Nace, you've mentioned a few times Sheldon, and obviously you had that quick stint in Toronto. You seem to talk quite highly of him. What is it about him, and what can a team expect of who he is as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't obviously know him extremely well. Like, I wouldn't say that we're like the best of friends. Where a guy like Ryan Warsofsky is with who's just got the job in San Jose.
Yeah.
But just knowing him from, I played against him in juniors. So I was in Plymouth and he was in Sault Ste. Marie.
Gotcha.
So the familiarity with my game and knowing what I did in juniors and knowing what I've done in the pros and kind of going forth, we have that kind of connection. I wouldn't say it's like the best in the world, but obviously I know him and I being in Toronto for that short little time, we know each other very well. It's not, there's no secrets in, who I am as a person, who he is. He's a great coach. You see what he's done in Toronto for these past, few years, dealing with guys like Mitch and Maddie and Jade and Tavares and Nylander and all these superstars that they have on that team. And you look at this, and it's kind of like, these guys are all stepping into that stardom here. So, he's obviously done very well in the regular season. He's done pretty well in playoffs. You can say whatever you want about that. I still think they've done very well in playoffs. And they're on this next step for him, and I'm very excited to get back to having a chance to play for him again. Even though I only have one game technically under his belt, so I don't know if you really want to say that, but I'm excited to be in the mix with him again, and hopefully we can build a great relationship off that.
And then lastly, do you have to fight Curtis McDermott for the number 23 you used to wear here? How does that go down?
Yeah. I don't know. I let Frosty do my say light work. I'll let Frosty do my light work on that, and let's see what he comes up with. No, I think we actually had a conversation while I was on the golf course earlier, and he was talking about how I don't know if he really want to go down that road, and I'm like, I don't. If he wants to give it to me, he's more than welcome to. I hear it's something to do with his dad, so I am all for whatever he wants to do. I obviously know 23 means a lot in the terms of the Jersey fans for the Nason world, but I could care less. I've been 23 for the past few years. I've been 9, I've been 11, I've been 64, I've been whatever. It doesn't really matter. If we don't get 23, we'll probably be in 11. If not, who knows? But Frost is supposed to give me a thumbs. He's supposed to give me a thumbs up somewhere, some shape or form at some point in time. So we'll
Sounds
see.
good. Thanks, Nace.
Yep.
Thanks, Amanda. Our last question to close it out. We'll go back to Mike Morial.
Thanks, Pete. Welcome back, Steph. Steph, two quick ones here for you. First, I asked this to Brett earlier. Just wanted to get your thoughts. Playing for that Carolina team the past 2+ seasons, playing for a coach like Rod, what have you learned about becoming a Stanley Cup playoff qualifier year in, year out, and maybe some of the things that you deem were most important?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the way that Rod runs the team and the way that Rod, coaches, his style is exactly the way he played. So it's, very risk-free, very just stress-oriented, as you can talk to any player, the more time you have the puck on your stick, the chances are you're going to get hit, and the chances are you're going to get bumped. You're going to get, there's a lot of risk reward when it comes to that, where, we simplified it down to a science. With that being said, it's kind of just, the more stress you put on the other team, the more chances they have to turn the puck over and create chances the other way. So, to me, that's the biggest thing I learned is that you don't always necessarily have to have the puck if you check and you forecheck the right way. You will get the puck back, and then you can kind of take over from there and dominate.
Good stuff there. I know you can't provide all the details, Steph, but I'm curious about the conversation you had with Fitzy when he was courting you back to Jersey, and how important was having your physicality and power game back in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, I don't really go into too much detail, but it was a very very smooth process. Fitzy called me kind of right away. I got on the phone with Dan McKinnon and Sheldon pretty quickly after we kind of got a number set in stone, and had a great conversation with them and talked to Kiefer for a little bit, and then after that, just ironing out some wrinkles. And at the very end of it, he was like, we've kind of been bumped around a little bit, and I'm very excited to have, I got you, I got Dylan, I got Mac, and I got, some good, heavy, big physical presence guys that can kind of help us and kind of guide us. And I've kind of said that numerous times in this whole entire call, but I'm very excited. I can see the excitement that they are, not only just myself, but the people that they've brought in. And it's an exciting time, I think, to be a Devils fan.